This is Special Report.
We're calling upon one of the strangest things in existence.
Neil Armstrong may have seen extraterrestrials on the moon.
When he spies a discernible shape.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You can deny all the things I've seen, all the things I've discovered, but not for much longer. Because too many others know what's happening out there. And no one, no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth.
Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox. We have another incredible installment of our show here for you today. We have Joan of Angels. We're going to get into a bio in just a minute. I want to just make sure that everybody knows to share this stream out. We are the so-called resistance to that groupthink. What we need to do is share this out on every platform all over the place and grow our community. This is one of the most important factors of what we're doing every day, all day, with the research to bring this information to as many people as possible. So with that being said, thank you all for being here. Again, I want to say hi to Omar. And also check out Watchers Talk. Watchers Talk has an amazing amount of week-long themed shows. Everything from ancient, we have the pyramids. In the coming week, we're going to have holistic stuff. There's going to be so much stuff to go. So go over to Watchers Talk and subscribe as well. We'll put it in the chat in a little while. But let's get to it. So we have Joan of Angels, and Joan of Angels has been assisting and guiding people for over 40 years as a doctor, a chiropractor, and then as an intuitive guide as well. Her work has always focused on healing people, helping people to live happier lives. And the angst in our world requires a different level of commitment now. Gone are the days when we can live that carefree existence. One of the things that Dr. Joan does is she communicates. She's a spiritual guide. She helps us connect with the angelic realm. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have her on today is because I want to use this platform to show people how we can interact with that angelic realm on a daily basis. So without further ado, Joan of Angels. Hi, Joan.
Hello, hello, hello. Okay, you're going to see me in a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, gosh, gone it. Hello, Rob.
I see you.
You can't see me on the screen, but I can see myself back here.
I can see you on the screen right now. You're right there.
See me on the screen? Oh, my God. Okay, good. Well, all right. I'm glad that that's true. And I'll just focus on you right now. But what a wonderful introduction. I really love being on your show and the times we've been together. And you continually surprise me as metaphysically, scientifically oriented. So
I'm so pleased to have you here. And I want to let you know that you always brighten my day. Your smile is infectious. Your energy is incredible. And another reason that I wanted to have you here today is because I wanted to share that with everybody, and the ability that you give to us to just lead that happier life and really look towards the positive aspects. You are a mentor. You are somebody who we can look at for guidance in so many different ways, myself and Omar included, I'm sure. Your energy is just so off the chain, and I love you exude it, and we just want to say thank you. From the bottom of our hearts to you, we thank you. You're incredible.
I love that, and I so honor that and appreciate it. I've really been stepping in the last few years to really big time my mission, my purpose, my destiny, and I see what's happening here on the planet, and my desire, I think, to reach more people and work with all of you people who are working with people. It's just so strong because we're in the most unique of times. So I'm honored to be here, Rob.
Amazing, amazing. So I wanted to jump right into the discussion because we usually run about an hour and 15 minutes, and I want you to tell us who Joan of Angels is in your words. When you look in the mirror and you look at Joan of Angels, what do you see?
Whoa. Well, I'll tell you something, Rob. I am a walk-in Angelic Ascended Master Being. Okay, I am Joan of Arc in the Archangel form. I'm Joan of Archangel, and I fully have embraced that which is within me. And it's kind of interesting because I'm still opening up completely my final walk-in self. I had 33 aspects of myself come back after being fractured at childhood. So and those gifts are coming back. That's all I could say. And so the person I was when I was born is not at all who I am now. And I just love being here on the planet. Even despite the trauma here and the turmoil now, I feel like this is our time. It's our time. You, Rob, Omar, myself, Neil, they're all, coming out as leaders now. We're the Moseses of our generation in guiding people to their own awakening.
I agree. I agree, and that's one of the missions that I've been given by my guides is to collect that data as we go along, so it's recorded down, like the cave walls have the paintings of how their journeys were, and I feel like that's kind of who I am. Is that, painting those mosaics, but with digital thought and with pen to paper and things like that, and. You said it when you're a walk-in and you have this process of the reabsorption of one of your fractal selves. How does this happen? What does this look like? Tell us what goes on when that happens.
Well, so I actually approached Sheila Seppi this year, and we had a session around my birthday, and I really needed to understand this because I knew I was a walk-in, but I don't fit Sheila's pattern or my friend Victoria's pattern. I just don't fit anyone else's pattern because I've been different for as long as I can remember, but still normal. Okay. So the way I interpret it is at a very young age due to trauma. And I was a very delicate, sensitive soul. I ran away at the age of 3. That's how I knew I was in the wrong place. But I was traumatized from a very, very young age. And so my 32 aspects of myself went out into the universe and had a blast. Now, apparently they were not hiding in a rock or hiding in a cave, which is kind of funny because I've been here in the desert, like 7 years in the desert. No, my aspects went all over the place. They went to the Pleiadians. They went to Arcturian. They went all over gathering data and information. And my instructions from Sheila, which was beautiful, was to look at all those times in my life when I received a huge spiritual upgrade. So my kind of walk-in is a step-by-step activation that would happen when I was ready. I didn't know those were activations, but looking back, so when I was 21, I was called to move to Los Angeles to live in a spiritual community. No one in my family, I didn't know anyone in the spiritual community, and I was called to work with this spiritual teacher and live in an ashram. Or when I heard a voice, it said, go to chiropractic school. So I feel like for me, my awakening and my changes came slowly, almost discouragingly slowly sometimes, because in between there were hard times and challenges. And it wasn't always easy. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And one of the things that is a prevalent scheme as we go through talking to people in their awakening process is how these moments make them go back in their entire life and really rethink other spot on moments that have happened, and now they have this knowledge of what it really meant. And that right there is that expansion of the consciousness, because now you're taking your timeline and it's kind of I want to put this the right way. It's kind of enhancing those moments to you, and now those moments may stick out when they may have been minute or minimal beforehand, which is really incredible.
Yeah, because if you look back in your life, it's really interesting to look at when you received enlightenment or an aha moment, or, the time I met my second husband and our eyes met and I knew I was going to marry him, and I heard the Hallelujah chorus over and over and over again. This person, I didn't even know his name, and I knew that I would marry that person. So, and that was also another activation, and it's about saying yes to these callings, Rob, because we have free will here. And sometimes we're human, and our fun life might seem more fun than following this other path that does require discipline. It does require, a higher consciousness, and it requires saying no to negativity, which in our culture is attractive, the negativity. So
Everybody loves a bad boy, right? And that's pretty much the paradigm of what it is. But Dr. Joan, that I think it's incredible too. And so now we're coming into your transition to this focus on the angelic realms and the angels. Tell us how that started for you, when that really came in to be prevalent in your life.
Well, it's not that I haven't felt angels all my life, because as I look back, there were times when I did, and when I saw angels, and I had a few times that I saw them. But in 2013, I was guided. I was in a very low period of my life, did not feel like a miracle maker anymore. And I was guided on Halloween to paint 33 angels in 30 days. And it was a very strong calling. I didn't want to do it because that's very messy, 33 days. Are you kidding me? And oil. And I had human resistance. But I had the feeling that if I followed the calling, more would be revealed. And sure enough, I started painting, and I put it all up in an angel loft, and a bookshelf fell off the shelf that says, "Your call for angelic assistance has been heard." And from that moment on, I became a paintbrush for these divine beings. And I would sometimes close my eyes and paint. I would turn the art upside down and paint. I became this paintbrush, and they explained to me that my mission was to put on canvas these beings so humanity can not only see them, but could feel their vibration, feel their energy. So it's oracle art. So that's kind of how it happened. And a few years later, 2015, I was called to the desert. And it's important, and I realize this because June 1st or 2nd is my 7-year anniversary of being in the desert. Jesus was called to the desert for 7 weeks. Well, I'm harder core, had to be 7 years here. But on my second day here, I met this woman, and we're in a crowded cafe, restaurant, having breakfast. And she says, what was your name again? She gave me that look. What was your name again? And I said, "It's Joan." And as I started to say my last name, she said, "Huh, say nothing." It was like that. And the room, I was in a time capsule. Oh, wow. Everything went silent. And she said, "I know who you are. You're Joan of." And, she let that arc kind of hang. And she said, "You're Joan of Angels." So, Rob, I'll say this. It's taken me 7 years. June is 7 years ago that I moved here and was named Joan of Angels. And this is the year that I've been fully embodying for the first time completely, and feeling that I anchor in the light within the earth and the heavens, and that somehow I am doing what I am here to do. And this is like when I could say I'm fully embodied.
I'm letting that breathe for a second because it's incredible, and knowing that mission and getting to that point is this alignment with the physical, the spiritual, but also the angelic. And that is probably you're one of the greatest conduits to the angelic realm that I know of. And your ability to let us know what they're saying and what we need to do as a community is very, very right up in front of us. And I respect the hell out of you for that, because it can't be easy. It's, when you hear a medium and a medium sees the other side and has to deal with that. And then somebody like yourself, who's that angelic channel, you can see that other side. So there is a little bit of burden, but you carry it with such grace, because when they tell you something, is there an immediate need to get it out? Is there, some time you have to let it kind of settle before you let it go and give it to everybody else? How does it work, that conjunction with the angelic realm?
Oh my God. Sometimes, Rob, it's instant. I'll get this download and I'll like run and put on makeup while I'm getting the download. I was like, oh my God, I got to get this out here. It's like, it's kind of crazy because yeah. And that's how it sometimes happens, is I have to get out there, or, I will write it down, but I really feel that call to bring the messages out as I receive them. So probably that's a lot of what's been going on this year. So 2 years ago, 2020, what happened was I was instructed by my guides that it's time to fluff my wings. It's time to show up. Yeah, and remember, I've been in training too. Planet's been in training as we go through this grand initiation. And oh God, as we walk towards that timeline that you and I talked about a few weeks ago, that 2030 timeline, when there's going to be that grand cosmic event that's going to catapult us into this positive new world.
I love the fact that we're gaining tools more and more each day to transcend this, 3D reality to that moment of that 2030 kind of that shift and that focus. And one of the things that I personally go through is a lot of that meditation, and I get the downloads, and sometimes I don't know where they come from, but you're like, that's what I meant by burden, in a sense of sometimes you have to get it out now, so you've got to kind of shuffle everything to get it out. And has there been any patterns that you've seen over the last 2 or 3 years of what they're actually telling you?
Yes, they're showing me patterns. My work is really about reminding people who they are and why they're here. Okay, their soul purpose, their big everything, and what tools they came down here to use with, how we weren't sent down here defenseless. Obviously, I have the gift of gab. I have my own set of tools. You have your own set of tools. But what they're showing me is the following. We need to actually not only remember who we are, we actually have to stand up for who we are. It's time to have courage in the face of tyranny, number one, and it's time to really learn to say no to what doesn't work. So many light workers are also people pleasers. They want to make everyone feel good. They want to be of service, and they're empaths. So God, they're either scientists or empaths. So speaking their truth is a burden. And so these are the times where we're pulling out the plug from your throat. Okay, we're pulling out that which has kept you silent. We're clearing out the pineal gland so you can have your inner sight back. And we're opening up this chakra so you can connect to the heavens. These are important because it's about being grounded, about understanding this. These are the times for which we've been called. So we are in the right place at the right time, even if it looks like things that we don't like seeing are happening. If you know what I mean, we're here for that. We're here to hold that light steady. And even if you don't know what you're here to do, I can tell everyone who's listening to this, you are here to hold that light. You're here to anchor it. That's one of our jobs. We're here to anchor it, earth and heavens, and just hold on and know that we're going higher, know that this is going to pass. So I see that as a trend. When I look back at the titles of my Miracle Mondays and my show, it's like, say no, have courage, believe, faith, confidence, and belief, clear your energy.
I love how you explain that too. It's very articulate in the way you say that, and I think that you're absolutely right. I think there is a lot of things out there that kind of keep us bottled up and all clog our chakras and really kind of hurt us. When you're working with clients or people, what are some of the biggest resistances that you get when they start to sort of go down that path of opening up to this, to this angelic light. And what is something that you kind of go, and the reason why I'm asking these types of questions is because people who are listening will be able to relate to a lot of what you see and what you've experienced while doing your work, and it maybe can help them to move past that as well.
So if your question is, what kinds of common themes do we talk about? It's like, who am I and why am I here? What am I supposed to do? How do I deal with the resistance, the obstruction? How do I be an angelic being in a house full of muggles? Okay. In a house full of people who are head blind, who don't get it. How do I live with someone who's got an anger management problem, and I'm an empathic angelic being? How do we be? I suppose if I broke it down, it's like, how do I be a fifth dimensional being in a third dimensional body that walks in a third dimensional world, which at any moment can go from high thoughts and lofty thoughts to, oh my God, if I don't get to a bathroom, I'll die, right? I mean, that's the human body. We all have these bodies. So we can get jerked up, in two different directions also. But I think the big lesson here is there's a lot to be afraid of if you didn't trust spirit, if you didn't know that all is actually unfolding for the highest good, even though it may look like it's not, okay, even though there are markers out there that look like the negative timeline. If we can hold to this idea and trust it and believe it, that we are actually on exactly here, exactly now. Like these light workers, do not think you should be leaving the planet. Don't walk around saying, it is time for me to leave here. Okay? No, this is the time, and I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I do not blame you. I do not blame you. But I will say this, you're needed. And if you leave now, you'll be sent back, and it'll be worse, because then there'll be hell here on earth because you left. Okay? So do your job, raise your frequency, ground it out, and know that when this passes, you'll get vacation time in the most amazing planet in the ultra galaxy out there.
I agree with you. Now it's time to dig our heels in and kind of stick it out, right? And really motivate others to progress themselves and kind of engage them. And one of the things I talk about a lot is thresholds, and everybody's got different thresholds that kind of engages them to enhance themselves in that research or find that path that kind of gives them that taste of light, so they can start to really focus in on it themselves and get into motivated to doing it. And one of the things that you said that I resonated with is a lot of people feel like they're alone, and I get emails and messages that I can't talk to the people in my family. I can't the people around me think I'm crazy, and I want to tell people out there, you're not crazy. And I'm going to ask you a question kind of related to that. How important is it to have the community, at least to you?
So it's very important. I just have to say the following, going around the world saying I'm Joan of Angels. Well, someone made a comment on BitChute, about me being some kind of weirdo, psycho weirdo. And I thought, well, I can, and I actually gave him a heart for his comment because I had to laugh. I understand where I might look like a psycho weirdo to someone who is a headblind muggle. Now, to be a headblind muggle, and if you know what a muggle is, it's someone who has no magical awareness of the planet and no gifts at all, and doesn't even see the world as a magical place. So I feel sorry for those people. Don't need to be with those people, but I want my magical tribe. I thrive in a collaborative, fun environment. Like, for instance, I love the shows I've done with you, with all you guys, because it provides a lot of thought and stimulation, and we bounce ideas off of each other, but we're not alone. I know that you're out of the box. If I put you in a muggle environment and you said half the things you did and I did, they'd look at us with a little eye up. But I'm going to take that back, because people are waking up one at a time, Rob. One at a time. I was talking to someone who was telling me about the fairies, real fairies that she had seen in her garden, and was a good friend who had a mushroom journey. And after the mushroom journey, ever since then, she had started to see little fairies in the garden and faces and things that were, quote, supposedly non-living objects. And the world is a living universe, so we can wake up our senses. And that's exciting.
Absolutely. And there is sentience everywhere. And I get those too with the people saying, "Oh, you're a weirdo." But mine was when I was talking to Paul Wallace the other day. The guy said, "You said Angelican wrong," and I said, and he left it in the comments. I said, "If that's all you took from that entire conversation, I mean, maybe you got to rewatch it. I don't know." But I was like, "Sorry about that. Maybe next time I'll pronunciate a little bit better for you." But it was just hilarious. I found it so funny. Like, really, of all the things, I mispronounced Angelican, but it's all right. But no, you're absolutely right. And when we get into these levels, there's sort of levels to the awakening too, where once we initiate certain types of gifts that are given that we all have, but we have to kind of become aware of them and figure out how to use them properly within ourselves. Things just open up. The world just opens up. I remember for a long time we were talking to a lady by the name of Angie Briers and Renat Zach, and they were communicating with animals and horses, and I used some of their tactics to communicate with cats. And people are going to say you're crazy. No, I'm telling you, I communicated with a cat. The cat was an abandoned cat, not so much abandoned. He was taken in by this family, but he wouldn't go near anybody. And after a while of me meditating and kind of putting myself out there energetically, he didn't even go to the owner the way he came to me. He just took to me. It was just wild. So, what are some of the gifts that you have been given now that your awakening process is completed and it's always a journey, but you're on the upper echelon of what you're working with? What are some of the gifts that you have been given?
Well, first of all, I have the gift of compassion. Okay. I suppose that's a Mother Mary trait. It's a Kuan Yin trait, the gift of compassion for humanity. Those of us who are walk-ins or we're part human, not really. We walk in a human body, but it's important to really have compassion for humanity and for those who don't have these gifts. So I will say that not all humans are open to these gifts, although someone gave a great comment today. They said, if we see the world as every human is an ascended master and they're just not open to who they are, then I would say that that's one of the greatest teachings, to see everyone as an ascended master and to really that really is something I strive for. And I also strive to get out of chaos, okay, is the best way to put it. And so I teach a lot about this mountaintop up here that we go to sit in when I do my coaching. We can go together to that mountaintop and have some chai tea up there, and we can look down at the road here so we can see what humanity is doing or see what they're doing from a separate place. So to take our emotions and go into a state of neutrality is easier, and objectivity. It doesn't mean not to feel the pain, because of course you're going to feel the pain, but it means don't dwell in this. Don't let your emotions cloud your ability to function in today's world, because today's world requires you to be frosty. Like living in the desert is perfect. There's a lot of life in the desert, but you have to be able to see it, number one. But you also have to take a lot of precautions here. You have to have water in your car. You never know. You just don't know. Half the time, I can't even cross the freeway. There's too much snow, even the sand. So I have to be alert to the weather. Are we going to have a sudden rainstorm? So now it floods or sandstorms. It's kind of wild, but it's about an awareness or a discernment. So I'd say I've also developed discernment now, where I really ask myself, is this for my highest good? Is this truly for my highest good? And that's been important to me too.
Me and Omar worked on this, where it was kind of training our subconscious to not sit in those negative moments and kind of change our perspectives to kind of, because you can't, there's no way you're going to get rid of them. So the best thing to do is to cope or figure out mechanisms in which we can transition those to find the little bit of positivity even in those bad moments that kind of, and after doing it repetitiously for a month, 2 months, your subconscious starts to be trained in that manner, and that's your go-to. And I guess that's kind of what we're doing as well when we talk about a lot of these topics. Sometimes you hear them over and over and over, but that repetition becomes, indicative of the subconscious and gets kind of transposed onto your subconscious, so you can use it, and the next time you get into those specific situations you can call upon it. And one of the things you do is you do coaching, but you also do a lot of classes that are meant to give people tools to kind of, go through that everyday life. So tell us about some of the courses that you give out, and what they are, how you work with them, and things like that.
So I have a couple of classes on my website now, and I have a few more that will be going up. But if you sign up for my email list, guys, you'll find out about the upcoming classes. I do have a Live Your Soul Purpose Now class that's going to happen next month, and I can give you the link so that people can see it, so you can post it. And that class is a hands-on class. So I have a master's in counseling. I don't really tell people that, but this master's in counseling trained me in groups. I love doing groups. I like the intimacy of groups. And I also am excited about the program because I get to see my following, so I can have my hands-on mothering touch, fluff your wings, so you actually do walk away knowing what you're here to do, feeling confident of your skills in the planet this year. I have some classes on your superpowers, your intuition, how to manifest. And one is on how to connect with your angels, your guides. And that's a very, very sweet class on connecting with your angels. Mm-hmm.
That sounds incredible.
Yes. And it is.
Go ahead. Sorry. I thought you were going to say something else, so I stopped talking, but go ahead.
No. I have nothing else to say about it. It is incredible.
I've put your website up for people to get in touch with you in the chat here. It's also in the description below to make sure that people, at all times can get in touch with you, Dr. Joan. And I call you Dr. Joan. It's just how I introduce you. And I should just be calling you Joan, but sorry about that. But, I think that you have so much to offer with helping people in that manner and giving them the tools. And one of the questions I wanted to ask today was how can we use our gifts to interact with the angelic realm and have it affect us on an everyday sort of level?
How can we use our gifts to interact with the angels? Okay. First of all, Rob, I just want to comment. You can always call me doctor. I've been called doctor my whole working adult life since I became a chiropractor. Dr. Joan of Angels works well. So how do you use your gifts to contact the angels then, or to connect?
Or how do we get the angelic realm to be ever present in our everyday life? Might be a better way to put it.
That is a great question. So it's a matter of vibration. Okay. For the angels, yes, they come down to the earth. In fact, I got a memo when you started the show tonight. It was a special memo. Angels have been sighted among planet Earth and among its earthlings. I got this memo when you did your intro to the show, and I wanted to let everyone know that angels have been sighted here on planet Earth. Hot flash right now.
I think I know what you're talking about too. I'm gonna try and pull up a picture of it. I think it's a light that they saw over Wisconsin that they couldn't identify, and it was this giant bright light in the middle of the sky. Let's see if I can find it.
Well, angels have been sighted at the space station, and these are no ordinary angels. Apparently, they're huge, and they're huge beams of light that are outside the spaceship, that space station, up to 1,000 feet. They are huge. They cover the window. They're like big. So actually, angels have been sighted everywhere, and we're calling them. So we are calling them. We're calling them to gather. We're calling them to remember their power, who you are, and to clear off your fear from other lifetimes here where you were told to sit down and be quiet. Right?
So these angelic beings that are at the space station, do you know more about this? Can you tell us a little bit about what that is? I mean, I haven't heard of that, so I'm super interested to see what do they know any particular reasons why they came or what their mission was when they got there? Or you
No.
interact with the angelical realm, so maybe they've told you.
So, few things are, when something's a conspiracy theory and then the real thing comes along, it's very hard to dispute. And so when you put scientists up in space and the angelics come and they're seeing all these ships that they're not allowed to tell us about, and the angels are showing up, that gives them a whole new perspective of what is really happening out in the universe. So I don't exactly know what's going on. I haven't really covered it, but now I'm actually going to go back and look. It has happened. How frequently, I don't know. But it has happened, just like rare sightings we have of angels. One day I was on my sister's deck and I was all alone, a private deck overlooking the sea, clouds up above, and I'm laying on the chaise lounge, kind of, in a just half sleep, half awake, and I feel something goes like this. Well, I freaked, So I opened my eyes, and there above me was a cloud like Archangel Michael. The most gorgeous eyes and the most gorgeous lips. It must have been 15 feet above me. Now, how that could translate into touch, but people report it. They report feeling that as well. So angel sightings are, I've seen angels. I saw Metatron years ago, and that was with my eyes open. So, we have different kinds of sightings. We have our inner sight, and we have 3D vision. Like you opened your eyes and saw something, and that's rarer, but still happens. Still happens. I have a dear friend who was Chichen Itza, some pyramid down in Mexico, and she was alone going up to the very top. And I think the last 20 feet, it was terrifying, she said, to get to the top. And suddenly a man appeared with a dog and a staff. And he took her hand and they went up to the top. And when she turned around, he was gone.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I've heard stories like that too. Now, when you have an encounter with these angelic beings, do they always have a message, or is it just sometimes to just, say hi and let you know that they're there?
So sometimes it's just to let you know that they're present. Sometimes they're doing work on you. They're activating you. They're rearranging your cell structure. They're doing healing on you. You don't always have to know they're present. Yet you can call on them. So I live in a house with a lot of angelic beings. Okay. I have all this art here. They all carry their own angelic frequency, but they do healing, and they balance your emotions, and they help heal your heart. That's what I'm going to say.
I see a lot of different pictures when I was looking for a background for the poster that we did for this show, which I'll show the poster real quick. It's a little, it's an angel that's behind you. But as I was going through the pictures, I saw all these different pictures. There was an angel in the apocalypse, and something about those pictures to me, it just resonates with me, and I see, and I there's a connection I have to looking at those pictures of angels that I don't always get when I'm looking at other pictures. And I don't know how to describe it or explain it, but it feels like I'm peering into another side of something that maybe I'm not fully looking into personally, but I need to. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you carry a very high frequency energy, Rob, and you've done a lot of work, and it's apparent. So you would have that kind of connection with higher energy beings. But the way to connect for all of everyone out there is to have more contact, is to raise your own frequency. Get rid of your negativity. Get rid of anything that keeps you closed. Change your diet so it's a higher frequency diet. Use essential oils, stop using pharmaceuticals, which have a dense energy, and use herbal treatments and homeopathic remedies that harmonize your body. So
A lot, I'm actually putting together the week of kind of like we always do a lot of spiritual work, but we don't always do the physical work on my channel, where the eating and the exercise and the ways to align the physical and the spiritual, so we can get that full alignment and really boost our I hate calling it physical, but boost our vessel or our meat suit into full action, right? And kind of give us that extra effort or that extra oomph to raise our frequencies. And I'm going to be doing something specifically meant to that. I'm going to have Carrie Ann Fields on. We're going to get Galactic Greg on too, who's a master herbalist, which is going to be really incredible to just talk about the herbs and stuff like that. So I think that I always say this too, is that the long game is just as important as the short game. And one of the things that I personally have to work on is the physical side of it. Eating right, making sure I'm doing everything I can to maintain my meat suit and keep it at its highest frequency,
Can I make a suggestion, Rob?
Sure.
Okay. So if I was to come up to you and say, "Oh my God, Rob, your body and the way you look today is magnificent. There's a resonance about you that's so high." How would that make you feel?
I would say, okay, thank you, but I feel like there are some things that I have to eat better is really my thing. I have to eat better because I'm eating donuts and all the rest of it and goldfish, and it's just not good. But I've started to eat more fruits and kind of more of the natural stuff, but not to the point where I probably should be.
Okay. So I'm going to not be so subtle.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Because if I came up and I said, "Oh my God, Rob, look at that meat suit of yours."
I would be like, whoa, all right. It is.
But
I
doesn't
call it
that,
the meat suit. It's gross, but
right? Okay. So in loving our bodies, all right. And I talk about this a lot too. When we want to do healing, if you want to say, "Hey, meat suit, why don't you just heal yourself?" It's not going to be as effective as if you say, "I love my fingers, my toes. You're just a beautiful body. And let's get the blood flowing and let's get the lymph flowing and let's heal anything out." So you see the difference?
of course. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And making me aware of it is profound right now for me. It really is, because I do I do shed that kind of it is what it is. It's but that's kind of like that overconfident spiritual side, that kind of the outside doesn't matter, or the vessel doesn't matter, but it does. It does. And that's kind of why I was motivated to do that physical stuff and kind of, talk about it, because maybe my subconscious was telling me, like, listen, bro, you got to get yourself right here and, get more involved.
I'm going to share something I've never shared in public before. Okay. So I come from a family where, like, my grandmother, I posted a picture of her on Instagram, was beautiful. She was a model for my grandfather. My mother was beautiful, a model. And all my life, I went through different periods where I was told I was beautiful. Well, I was so upset that people would think I was beautiful and want to like me because they thought I was beautiful, and they didn't know I was smart or funny or any of these other qualities. I was so pissed that people would think that I was beautiful that I actually deliberately made myself ugly / then sick / depressed, because I didn't want people to see me as beautiful. Okay. So I really come from experience on this, that the words we use to talk about our body then frame even the way people see us in the end, and how they respond to us. And so actually our physicality reflects how we feel inside, because it's a mirror. And so I've really been sharing a whole new point of view. So I tried to be as ugly as I could in my teenage years. It might sound very funny to you, but really I was as dorky as you could come. And I forget, but years and years ago, I went to this bar and all these dorky looking women met all these men, and no one would talk to me because I apparently intimidated them. So I saw it as a curse, not as the fact is that, my mom told me when she came to me years ago that she had been hell of a Troy. Well, what do? Should you cover your light or share it?
You got to share it and shine, and that's that's so deep to it and profound that you say that. And we do get into those moments where we want somebody to look at us in some way, but it's not the way that they're seeing us, and it causes that negative. But if do you think that it would have helped you if you would have been able to take those compliments and say, you know, I accept that, thank you, instead of like if you could like I don't know how to say it if I'm saying it properly. Like if you were able to accept what they were feeling about you more as opposed to what your own you kind of like we kind of get in our own way, right? Like we get in our own way with what our perception of ourself is. And like you said, we're projecting it. So how do we kind of not do that or accept those moments for what they are?
So I think a real key is what we call self-love. It's really easy. It's like, okay, body, we're on the same team. We're going out today. We're gonna teach. We want, what kind of energy, how are we gonna work together, body, mind, and spirit, to present ourselves in a way people hear what we say, or that we can show people how these bodies need to work while we're here. The more love we give it, because your body is 70% water, and we know water carries the frequency of your energy. So if you negatively saying, I hate myself, I'm ugly, I'm too fat, like I started to tell you how wonderful you were, and then you certainly to let me know how you're not perfect. It's like, well, okay, but you really need to know, how bad I am.
I did. I spoke the beans. I was like, listen, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. And that's kind of like that. That's one of the aspects of myself that I can be so brutally or bluntly honest that I'm just not. I'm not that. I can console people, but sometimes I'm just like, well, why would you believe? Like, I'm too analytical sometimes. I am, and yeah, you're right. I didn't do that. So, but I think you're absolutely right.
I'm pointing it out so our audience can get it. I'm sort of pointing it out on you because it's easier because we're just here chatting but the thing is, it's about how we even talk to ourselves. So I suggest we talk to ourselves and say, hey, you beautiful being, like we got a lot stored up for us this life. We have a lot to do. What are we going to do to feel good? How are we going to help, that part of our body that's been expressing pain? Like, how are we going to eat for success so we can have that energy to do what we're here to do?
Right. And if we're representing the angelic realm spiritually, we have to be able to represent it, in the vessel as well, and kind of protrude or project that light out of the vessel as well. And that's kind of what you're saying is you have to be able to love that in the same way, and that balance and that alignment is key. It really is key. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm going to take away from. I just love hearing your story, but I think I'm going to take that away from this conversation. And I love to be that person who kind of is like it's focused on, so I can correct it or kind of look at it in a different light. So I love those like exercises and practice. So I appreciate it absolutely, and I take what you say as it's important for me. So I listen when you talk, and that's amazing. So one of the other things I wanted to touch on before we finish up today is what your show means to you when you're posting on YouTube. What does that mean to Joan of Angels? How much does that mean to you, and what exactly are you trying to do with that platform and kind of expand to us what we can see coming, or what you've done, and really tell the people about your YouTube channel, what that does as a platform for you.
That's so interesting. So last night, I just got a hint that I needed to explain my channel better. And I did a little video called I'm Joan of Angels, welcome. And so I don't
That's
even know what I
wild.
said. No, I put it up last night, in that intro when you come to the channel. But, guys, when you come to my channel, I'm all about stepping into the miraculous and believing in your own potential and being inspired to do you. So like my favorite show is Miracle Monday. And Miracle Monday is just, I've been doing it for 4 or 5 or 6 years. I don't even know how long. I hop on and they raise the vibration. We do healing around the planet. I usually have my globe here. We do personal and planetary healing. I don't know. We just raise the vibes in the show. And truth is that an hour goes by and I actually don't know what I did. But people seem to be getting better. They love it. They feel that they're getting that taste of the miraculous. We need hope. We need to believe. We need to believe change is possible for us, that this is not going to be so difficult forever. So that's what I do. I give you hope. Not fake hope either. Hope. I draw in that feeling that we are going to be okay. And I think everyone really leaves there. I always check in, like, what's your energy when we start? What's your vibration when we get off? And honestly, I'm pleased with the results. And then I do interviews with people. So occasionally, I was doing them regularly, but they're unfortunately sporadic. But when I find someone who inspires the off of me, I'm hopping them on my show, but it's intermittent.
I love your channel because I do get that sense of it's this passion that you have for what you do, and that is an inspiration in itself as well, not just the hope. I do love the hope part of it, but when you're so invested in what you're doing, and I love that drive. That drive is something that I kind of get drawn to, and you know I honestly think that we wouldn't be where we are now with this community if it wasn't for you too. I mean, when when I first met Neil a while back, I knew of you and we kind of got to know each other through those different events, but you are ultimately the glue of those events. I can't describe it any other way. You are the glue that holds it all together. You interact with anybody and everybody, and then you come through and you radiate that passion to know more and that passion to understand. And I think that that's one of your most amazing qualities, is that you are that glue. You are that motherly type of figure that we all look at and say, and when you speak it ends up just, it resonates with me. And I want to thank you for that again, because it's inspirational, and I think a lot of other people see that and they're drawn to your channel. And I can't say it in enough words, and I want to tell you that because it means something to me that you're here today on my channel, because I do look up to you in that way, and you are somebody who's paving the way for so many people and looking at it in a perspective that's not, it's not the same as everybody else's. I think yours is a little bit different with the angelics and things like that. So it becomes a little bit more, it becomes different, but in a good way, like in a great way, actually. And I like that because it kind of blends my faith into my spirituality. And you're kind of that connection for me between my Catholic faith and the spiritual side, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yes. And I'm honored, Rob. I just think that's lovely. And, I love that I've been doing all these shows. I actually love presenting. I could present every day and it would be different. It's just they channel it through me. And I just love presenting. I would go around the world. My new affirmation is Joan of Angels. It's going viral. And
You're going to get there. I would love to be in Neil's position too, and traveling the world to see these different sites and stuff like that. And I really think that one day we're going to end up on an island with a commune, and we're all going to be there, and it's going to be the most spiritually enhanced island that you've ever been on. And when people come, they're not going to leave the same. I'll tell you that. I really do have that like gut feeling that that's going to be our future. I don't know why, but I believe in Neil, and when he says it, I know he does what he says he does. And that for me is like, it sounds incredible. It just sounds amazing.
Well, I love working with all you guys. Neil has been wonderful to me. It's been great to be on the program. And it's so good to hear that that people get something of value from that. Because, That's important to me. You know,
Of
to
course, of
be
course.
authentic and to have this. This has been a great conversation, I must say, Rob. I like
I
your energy, um, and I just like working with you.
I love working with you too, Dr. Joan. And you know, one of the things that I personally had to go through with being on those events and kind of being an MC was, what am I bringing to the table as of information? Like, what am I had to start doing more presentations too, because I felt like I was just a talking head. Like I was the guy just asking the questions or kind of like, but my thirst for the knowledge is kind of like prevalent and you can see it, but I felt like I needed to bring more to the table. So I started doing these, I started doing the presentations as well. And I'll tell you, for me, that was just a step in my own internalization of the information. It was like something that drove me to try and figure out new ways to connect with people. And I think you're also doing that as well. You're finding different ways to make that connection, and that's super important. Super important.
Yeah, and I'm finding out what I know. It's
Absolutely.
great. It's fantastic.
Awesome, awesome. So we're about to finish up, Dr. Joan of Angels. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people? I'm going to put you on full screen and give you a few minutes to go ahead.
All right. So, you know what, guys? I'm just so honored to be here with you. And I want you to remember something. We were born for this. This is our time. You were born with your unique you-ness that is here to do you. And we need you to do you. And so my work is all about inspiring you to have the courage to step up to your mission and destiny. Because I know you wouldn't be even listening to Rob and his show if you didn't feel a sense of meaning and purpose. So guys, this is the time, not only the time, but let's face it, wouldn't it be nice to actually be able to connect with our guides and angels at will? Wouldn't it be nice if we were walking around with other beings who were committed to raising their vibration, to doing what's best for themselves and for others? You know, if we were on a planet that everyone had food, everyone had water, the air was clean. I mean, imagine if the air was clean and if we were able to heal ourselves instantly and manifest miracles on the planet. And this is our birthright. It is our birthright to walk in this positive pathway if we set our sights in that direction. And do not believe the false media. Do not believe them when they tell you that you have to follow their dictate, or that you're alone here on the planet, or that you only have this one life, or that they're in control of you, because that is not true. You are a sovereign, independent, human, God-like being that's in this beautiful body that you can beautify, that you can upgrade, that you have the skills to, if it's not working properly for you, you actually have the skills to have a conversation and change the set point on your body to health, to wealth, to happiness. So it's all these timeline shifts, these activation of your DNA so you can shift. It is all within you. But I will say from experience, you have to say yes. You have to say, yes, I am open to receive. Yes, I am willing to remove the cork in my throat chakra. I'm willing to remove the blinders from my third eye so I can see, so I can speak my truth and hear really what it is that I'm to do. So these are the times, guys. We cannot be more serious about it than what it is now, which is that we are poised to either become the most beautiful of planets and of worlds, or the hardest and the most tyrannical hell on earth. And that choice, we have a choice in that. Because remember when I came on, I said, you're a light bearer. You are a light being. Your major job, this life, all of our major job is to hold that light steady. So that no matter what pushes against it like this, you hold your feet apart and you anchor your grounding into the earth and into the heavens, and you become that being who knows truth, who knows who you are, who carries that light, who can activate miracles upon this planet merely by being present and merely being by, and it's not merely, it is in being that highest frequency. So we ask you to do you and to hold your frequency, to not step, when fear comes in, just breathe it out. And I use a beautiful affirmation. I am safe. All is well. You are safe. All is well. And we are safe. All is well. And the more that's put out in the universe, the more it will be. And so it is. So I love that you've been with me tonight.
Amazing, Dr. Joan. And you're so right. Don't believe the things you read out there. Don't believe a lot of the things you see in the news. Like it says in the intro of this show, the media and no government agency has jurisdiction over the truth. And, we are the ones we have been waiting for. And to quote Phil Gruber, the information is the activation. So with that being said, I want to thank you. It's always an honor and a privilege to have you here, Dr. Joan. I can't wait to do this again in the near future. And we just appreciate you and love you. Thank you.
I just love being here, Rob. Thank you. And thank you to all of you guys who follow Rob and help him make his show one of the best.
Thank you. Thank you. In the chats and in the description, you can find all of Dr. Joan's websites and links. Also, please, again, one more time, share this out. Let's beat the algorithm. Let's wake as many people up as we can. Something that you may find is profound, something somebody else may seem something else is profound. Let's just share it out there and hope for the best. So with that being said, all of us here at Full Spectrum Universe, my name is Rob Yox. That's Joan of Angels. We're going to bid you good night.